Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of our 4th Age Total War Rohan No Deaths run, where the goal is to meet our campaign objectives while keeping every faction on the map alive. We are here actually defending, but we are defending in a somewhat aggressive manner. The battle today is being fought over the capital of the Dunlandings over here, Dunhold. We are looking over in the west, over towards Dunland and Enedwaith. And over to the east here, the Misty Mountains are rising. There is a small force attacking us from over here, but the bulk of the action is going to come from the settlement, where there is a fairly large garrison. Now, of course, the goal in this fight, on the one hand, is to take the settlement. So we would like to get that. We may see that change hands here today to our benefit. If it doesn't, however, it's not the end of the world. If we do a good job in this battle, and we take out most of the enemy, then we will of course make it much easier for us in the upcoming battle, where we assault and fight sort of a normal siege battle. But because we've got such, cav heavy armies, as you would expect as Rohan, we're sort of looking for these field battles essentially. So I'm going to set up on this knoll because the reinforcements are going to come from over there. They'll have to either come through the trees or down the hill there. I don't think there's enough room for me really to set up here in a way that would be all that good. I mean, we'll be right on the edge of the map is the problem. And so they're going to be right there, and we're not going to have a lot of room to do cav charges. And I'd like them to be kind of tired when they're coming over towards me. We also have the possibility that in this battle, the Dunlandings are going to withdraw once they see how badly we're beating the initial army. Let's see, this army consists of, it looks like, just a couple units of their Dunlanding horsemen. These are, as I've said many times, a deceptive unit. They look like peasants on horseback with sticks, and they are to some extent. But they do have javelins. They also have spears for a melee, and that makes them, potentially effective in the charge. They've got enough numbers to really give you a bad day. So, fortunately, I think we'll be just fine in this. I'm going to get my archers down here. We'll start shooting. And then they're probably going to chase our archers. We're going to chase down with our lancers, which we're keeping in the back for now. Because the main arm of our cavalry here is these Rohan spears. It's the tier 1 cavalry, right? These are the guys with literally just a spear, not even a shield. The idea is this is a sort of a, they're a glass cannon kind of unit. Let's look over on the other hill where we're having the main enemy approach. And this looks like an assortment of light stuff. We've got some spearmen, at least a couple of units there, some Dunlanding bowmen, got some skirmishers, a family member, some pikes, some more cav, more spears, and some axemen. Now, all of these units, with the exception of the pikes and the bodyguard, have some ranged capability. So we'll be dealing with that. Let's see how the archer fight is going, and it looks like they're going to come and throw javelins at my bowmen. But while that is going to be fairly damaging, as you can see, we're just going to stand and take it. If they look like they're going to charge, we're going to charge. Actually, let's charge with these spears. I know I should have done this sooner. I'm terrible to my bowmen. They really, I don't deserve their loyalty. But they've done very well. They're down just to 53 men, so we may be able to get rid of these cav pretty quick. So we'll speed up the battle on that account and wait for the reinforcements to catch up. So the main cavalry army has, the attacking cavalry army has withdrawn. The main army is approaching, and they're coming downhill, which is really, really nice. I guess I can use these mercenaries a bit more aggressively than I have been. We'll slow down that battle there for just a minute, and we got to decide where I'm going to be hitting. We do want to watch out for those pikes, I guess, but I think we're going to have a lot of this, the decision taken away from us here. Pikes are, of course, hanging out right next to the Chieftain's Guardsmen. This is also our best target for cav charges because there's no ranged, and he doesn't have a spear. So if he's going to charge up the hill, I want to hit him with my bodyguards and take him out quick. And then the rest of these guys should be routing pretty soon. And it looks indeed like he is distancing himself from those pikes, so I'm going to risk it with my generals. I'm also going to bring these guys back because these ranged units of Dunland have a nasty tendency to get just close enough to shoot and not close enough to trigger skirmish on my own men. Now, we did manage to kill the enemy general in that charge, but the rest of them are still fighting, down to 8 men, 7 wavering. I really want them to rout, but they're not going to rout. They're going to fight to the death, and we're hopefully going to get away from those pikes. Yes, just in time. Pulled them out of formation, but I don't know if we're going to be able to do a whole lot with that. Maybe let's get our melee guys down there. Alright, I'm going to send some cav after these axes. They're going to get a chance to throw, but it's hopefully not going to be enough to be all that meaningful. And let's throw into these tribal spearmen too. There's always a risk of taking the unlucky spear to the general, but I think at this point we've killed the enemy general, and we're going to be just fine. Let's bring the horse archers around. We just want to make sure we get the routers here. This is essentially a mop-up operation, whether they realize it or not. Alright, we'll continue the battle here, and then see you on the campaign map. Alright, it looks like we have captured Dunland. If we can go over here to take a look at it. Oh, it's got a red face. Let's lay desolate there. And now we got a green face. They like that, it turns out. So we've gotten rid of enough of the population so that they're no longer angry with us. And let's see what we're left with. Oh, we got a coming of age. Great. I'll deal with that later. We still have 3,004 population here. So there's quite a lot. And because I am kind of a stickler about keeping taxes low everywhere to improve my King's Authority stat, this is only going to grow more, and that's going to get worse. But on the bright side, we're going to get rid of a bunch of expensive, high-end, important buildings for Dunland. Those warlords' barracks are gone. Open policy will keep. We'll keep the carpentry work gangs. This is actually excellent. This reduces construction costs faction-wide. So we're going to see a reduction everywhere we're building. We're, of course, going to keep this great market. We can train a scout here. But we will get rid of these trials of blood. They are spreading the bad religion of the Dunlandings and also the execution square. We don't need that. Hall of Feasts gives us our assassins, or as we call them, rogue, as well as some happiness bonuses and law even. So I'm going to keep that for sure. Roads and the sheep trader. Okay, sheep trader I think we can ditch. This is I guess this is a Dunlanding specialization building, isn't it? Interesting choice. I will keep the healer. That is giving us some population growth. But, I guess it's not a bad thing to have a high population city here. We've got a very low population city in Dunkrak with only 400. Dunland has 3,000. So let's take a look at what we can train here. I can't quite remember. Dunlander spearmen levies and huntsman levies. These are the tier 1 units, essentially. They're going to be great for garrison. And then we get our levies of Rohan spears, and then we can get up to Rittermark scouts. So, we're going to get our jav-throwing cav and our arrow-shooting cav at the top tier. And, of course, get our own archers and axes of the mark. So, decent stuff. It's nothing groundbreaking. But it is good to hold this, and this does connect us almost to Tharbad. And our settlements around Tharbad. If we took Greyholm, we would have a nice link all the way up. I'm not quite sure that I want to do that yet. We are, of course, at war with Tharbad, so maybe it wouldn't hurt to take this. I mean, it's their capital. I'll have to give that some thought because we could have a nice link going, and then Tharbad could just keep some of these other settlements around. We do need to start taking some territory too. We're doing a great job at maintaining the balance of power, but we also need to win. So we've got 18 settlements. We're almost at our halfway point. Let's see what we have for news. So typical stuff of war between Reunited Kingdom and Dunland. Peace between Dale and North Rune, and we're the most advanced. I'll take it. And we're doing great in terms of cash. 158,000 in the bank. And we're making 17 grand this turn, although again, that's going to be a little deceptive given the fact that we just destroyed a bunch of buildings. So one thing that I want to deal with maybe today is what we're doing with these armies now in the east. We pulled away from Dorwinion. Some of you made comments to the effect that we got to watch these guys. We had them under siege for a very long time, and of course, if the faction is eliminated, that's game over for this run. And I've just had my eyes so fixed on protectorate status, like getting a literal protectorate out of them, that I may have taken my eye off the prize to some extent, and forgotten what we need to be more concerned about is, expanding our own territory and making sure other factions don't get too huge, while also making sure that we don't accidentally end a siege and kill Dorwinion. We're not, we are at war, but we're not really at a dangerous war with North Rune, I would say. The thing that is much more alarming at this point is Rune itself, the red faction. Now, they are constantly besieging the dwarves here, and I'm thinking we could start a war with Rune, benefit the dwarves, and essentially milk them for peace repeatedly. The reason for that is, if we start war with Rune now, we have no borders with them. We share no borders. The AI is very susceptible to borders, and it is likely to attack you if you share a border with it. However, if it does not share a border with you, typically they will scramble to get a ceasefire. And you can actually get some pretty hefty concessions out of them if they are a little bit worried about you and you're not adjacent to them. So we could start some trouble here. Now, they could also start some trouble. They've got some large stacks in the region. And of course, we're at war with everybody else around us. But that's kind of what this campaign is all about. So I'm thinking what we want to do here is just grab all the mercenaries we can and get our armies assembled and start heading down and maybe doing a bit of diplomacy vis-a-vis the dwarves. Now, if I look around for emissaries here... All right, I've got one right here, actually. He's getting old, but he's getting close. He's close enough to this dwarven emissary to open negotiations. Let's see how they feel about getting a bit of help. I'm going to offer to attack Rune, but I'm going to want a bit of cash. The dwarves are rich. Let's see if you'll give me 1,000 for that. Something fairly modest. Okay, they don't need me. Well, screw you then. What we're going to do in that case... Okay, we got a full stack right here. We'll head down. And I know that this looks a little foolish at sort of exposing ourselves here, but we'll take this army down and bring it down here. Rune is converging, and so they clearly look like they want to start a fight. I'll keep this army, I think, right here. We'll bring these other foresters over, and if this army wants to attack us on the bridge, then I think we'll be okay at holding them off. And we also want to spend some of our hard-earned cash on training some troops. Now, in this part of the world, we have better cav than our native Rohan spears, in a sense. The Rohan scout levies here have an 11 attack, a 16 charge. That's better than the Rohan spears, who have a 14 defense, as opposed to the 16 of the scout levies. These guys have a shield, of course, so that's part of it. Otherwise, the abilities at the glance are the same. The only thing that these guys have an advantage on is numbers. That's arguably a liability, though, when we're dealing with a fairly low population center like Belligant. So as long as the population here is under 1,000, I think we're going to want to stick with the Rohan scout levies. So we'll get one of those queued up and probably continue down that road. We also have the option of city development here because we're up to the highest level of development. But I think the more prudent thing to do right now is to get some more solid unit recruitment out of this. Currently, what do we get here? Just the first 2 of our native recruitment. With this, we're going to get 4 more. So it's going to be a massive difference. So let's go ahead and spend that cash. And down in Umbar, we are kind of playing a bit of a defensive game here. We have Harad sort of down against the ropes, or whatever the boxing metaphor is. And so they are really hurting in terms of province numbers. They're facing attacks from Harandor. I think Khand is coming in, and they're also attacking Tharbad. So they may be able to expand a little bit, and they may be able to throw some stuff against us. But since we've conquered Umbar, I think our goal here is going to mostly be recruit mercenaries as we can. And so to that end, I'll go ahead and make space for this Southron Spears unit, because they're the only guys we can train currently. And just wait until we get our Outland Dominion built. We can start training stuff on our own down here. Alright, and we are indeed attacked on the ford by North Rune. I guess they were waiting for that one army of mine to move away. We can see that we've got problems with Rune themselves currently. Even though they've failed to take Nerrig Zagil, they've decided they want to get pretty close to Belagant, so that'll be interesting. So we're going to see how we fare against this army. It's only got a single unit of cav as the captain. It's got a bunch of axemen, a couple of slingers, which may cause us some headaches, and the best unit they have is the Spearmen of Rune, which also may be a bit of a problem for us. I'm hopeful that with all of our ranged stuff and our cavalry, we may be able to do a little fancy footwork and keep away from them sufficiently to cause them problems. But we'll have to see. It's actually been a while since we fought any Easterling armies. So typically for a battle like this, you want to defend the choke point. But this is probably not going to work too well in this case. Looking at our long-range guys, we've got a unit of archers and a unit of slings, and that's it for ranged. I'm going to go ahead and put them right here. I'll put the slingers a little bit closer because the archers can theoretically shoot over the slingers' heads. So we'll keep them there, leave them on skirmish. All of our other ranged units are relatively short range. They're good, but they're not going to be having a huge impact, I guess. I like to stagger them sometimes, so we'll move them kind of like that, and this may encourage them also to run in slightly different directions and make it a little harder for the AI to follow them. For the rest of our infantry guys, I think we'll pull them fairly well back. Our other cavalry, though, is kind of this mash of mercenaries, a couple of bodyguards who are very strong, and these Rittermark spears who are also very strong but very, very low numbers. So I think something like that, and we'll just kind of withdraw back to around here, and hopefully we'll be able to choose some nice charge targets. Now, often what the AI will do when they're crossing a ford or a bridge is they'll get their men set up in a nice line, they'll take their sweet time doing it, and they'll get their ranged guys out to either side and right up to the edge of the water and try to shoot across. I don't know that they're going to have the best luck reaching us. I don't think they have any better range than our own slingers. So I don't really see a huge threat here, but we can always move back. Alright, looks like they've got some bowmen, or some skirmishers rather, so these guys are not going to be a problem. Okay, here they are coming across. And so what we really do want to do is sort of pull apart and then target our charges to this guy back here. This is an Eastland, they're mountain raiders. So this is a very light cav unit, and it's quite susceptible to the charges that our own light cav is going to be able to deliver. And the rest of these guys are going to be fairly intimidated by our bodyguard units. So if we can, pull back until we can get a nice charge on the general, then the rest of the army could fall apart. The problem is, because they all charge forward in a huge column, that we may get some weirdness where you've got part of the unit way ahead of the body of the unit, and so the actual general or captain figure may be well in the back. However, I can see him right here. He's this guy with the spiky mask helmet. He does seem to be getting out ahead of the rest of his men. We've driven off some Easterling skirmishers. Currently looks like some of the warband are getting in on the action over on the right side. Let's bring these guys over. I think I want the levies to start moving against these units. And they're already routing, so this is the great thing about pulling units apart. They really do not like being isolated. They're wavering, and I bet they're going to break as soon as we make contact. Yes, indeed. And even though Spearmen of Rune, the unit I was most concerned about, running away. Don't underestimate these Rovanian foresters. They do not look tough on paper, but they can be very effective. So we'll pull our melee line back again. We do have a unit of skirmishers back here, and I'm going to pull them just a little bit more forward. Now, I could go after these guys to keep them running. That might be a good idea to send my Rittermark spears after him for that purpose. But you see how it's taking a long time for the full units to come across. Okay, so they are reforming. I'll have to keep my eye on them. There's the general, but I'm a little wary of charging in. Because they have not committed entirely. So we'll charge in with those guys. The infantry can hopefully pin them. Alright. Let's hit these mountain warband, and let's get you on the spearmen. Okay, we've got a situation where now this light cav are charging into my skirmishers. That's actually something I'm fine with. These skirmishers have spears as a melee weapon, and so they're going to be able to hold that cav, and we're already routing them. Let's get into these axemen. Alright, I think I want to bring the infantry back down. Remember to put those guys back on skirmish. We're getting a lot of guys routing, but maybe not quite as many as I would like. I want to just get the whole thing a nice big chain route. They're wavering. Not really taking any losses with our general's units, but I'm not keeping my eyes on any of these other little combats, and so that could be a problem. Alright, here we've got some axemen. Let's pull back and deal with them. Some of these guys may well come back, and we've got some slingers who are hitting us with impunity at the moment. And what are the 8? Okay, Rovanian Forester levies, Spearmen of Rune over here. Alright, there goes the general. Very nice. We got him, so maybe we can switch back to an engagement with the spearmen. Let's get those slingers taken care of for once and all. Alright, I'll take you guys off skirmish. They're down to 43 men. They're impetuous but utterly tired. We get another couple of casts in. They're steady. And then we can hold them. Down to 40 men. 36 broken. Nice. Light cav, light skirmishers. Rovanian's roster, I actually love it. Very satisfying to use because it's not super strong. Alright, here we've got Axemen of Rune that are shaken, and you know, to some extent these guys are almost self-running. You know, the slingers are pursuing me. We got some axemen over here. But those skirmish guys, they're kind of just doing their own thing. Just doing exactly what you want, leading the enemy away from the main engagements. These are some axemen that I now don't have to fight with the rest of my army, and they're just doing their own thing. So we'll bring our bodyguards close in, and they should be able to rout just by their presence. Let's bring these guys back, and okay, there's some cav following up this victory. Alright, we've got some mountain warband that are wavering. Let's see if we can get them to rout. If they turn and fight, we'll leave. These guys are shaken. I'm not sure if we can get them to rout as well. Yeah, I guess we can. Turns out those warband, once they don't have a leader, are super vulnerable. But it kind of does make me want to play a Rune faction again. It has been too long. Alright, the Axemen of Rune are broken. They decided they did not want to fight anymore. And I don't even think they engaged with my my spearmen here, but it doesn't really look like we've been shooting them down too much either. I don't see any losses along their path, but I think they just got to a point where they've faced so many losses in terms of their own army on the battlefield that they just got tired of running. Alright, so I think we can go ahead, exit the battle here, and quit for a heroic victory. Very good. I was a little concerned about that, actually, because it's a... You know, North Rune has a decent roster. They don't have a lot of variety, but they've got some good units, and you can be successful with them. And they've had a lot of time to train those guys, so you're never sure how it's going to go. And now we have to do it all over again. All right, this time with a family member. So can we hold on? Oh yeah, for sure. Look at this. It's a bunch of Easterling peasants at arms, literally peasants. We do have a couple of mountain warband. We do have some other guys, including some great axes of Rune. The balance of power seems to think that we are in for a tough fight. I'm not sure I agree, but maybe we shouldn't be underestimating those peasants. They do have gold upgrades. Well, we'll basically do the same thing. We got our 3 sort of heavy cavalry here. Keep the Riddermark spears back, sort of as a try to keep on routers. And we'll go here. Back. And you guys right here. And you guys, you know, I think maybe only the slingers should be that close to the front, because I don't want anybody on this side, because that's where the shields are going to be held, right? So there's not really that much of a point. Have the archers like here, and then maybe we can stagger the line even more. So the real question is how effective these Easterling peasants at arms are going to be. They certainly have a lot of flags above them because of those upgrades. They're the unit that appears when you get a settlement through diplomacy, or it rebels to you, I guess. So I think there are some engine limitations with how those units can be equipped. The reason that they're given such tiny unit sizes in the mod is precisely because you want to avoid the ludicrousness of having a full unit of peasants with perfect upgrades. That's something you could find in vanilla BI. So we don't want to necessarily underestimate them, but I don't think they're going to be all that effective. The one big difference here is we've got the presence of cavalry in greater volume, and we have this family member. So of course we want to take him out. I don't think their melee line is going to be that much of a problem. The Great Axes of Rune, there's only 22 of them, and they are a very, very good unit in certain situations. But I'm not sure if this is the situation for them, suffering under a lot of ranged fire. Okay, they're all moving in towards the center. They're going to be focusing on my forester levies, and maybe we'll manage to get out of their range. There you go. Now, we can't expect these guys to rout quite as fast this time, because there is that general. So that means their morale is going to be a bit higher. He's probably going to have some traits that help morale. Even so, we're not doing too bad. All right, let's pull out over here. And we got mountain raiders attacking our levies. And who we got fighting here? Just Easterling peasants at arms. And then we'll attack the mountain warband with everybody there. Looks like we got some foresters caught up in this mix. But that's okay. They will help. But what I do want to do is now kind of pull them back, because I really need them to be a skirmish force. Those cav have failed. Here's the enemy general. Ravanian bowmen are getting targeted, which, you know, of course that the family member here is going to win that fight. But I'm going to throw in the foresters to this too. Alright, let's go ahead and attack the Axeman of Rune with my general. Hopefully that'll wipe him out. Our cav is absolutely decimating this unit. Chieftain's Guard down to 3 men, and 3-1 wavering, I should think so. And there he goes. Lots of cheap spears, not a lot he can do in that type of situation. But we can get these skirmishers. Actually, we should be going after them for sure. Let's go after those mountain raiders, and we should have this pretty much wrapped up. We've got the great axes here, who are going to be a pretty solid force on the battlefield. They're among the last remnants here. They're steady, despite losing so many in this fight. So it is to their great credit that they're not just fleeing right now, but there they go. And let's just go ahead and chase them off. We want to go after the slingers in particular to get them in the route. We're not being chased anywhere, so... oh, wait. Maybe back here? No, it looks like we skirmished away and dealt with whatever the problem was, so those guys can come back this way, just in case. Okay, we got the situation where the slingers are running, like, across the water. I'm a little worried because at the depth here, I'm a little concerned we're going to drown. Foot ranged units seem to have some extra dispensation when it comes to wading through the water. Like, I can't tell my men to march through here. And in fact, we're having a really hard time making it through there. So they're going to withdraw, and that should be the end of this one. And we'll see if North Rune has anything else to throw at us. And it looks like they do not, at least not this turn. So I started this last turn with grand plans of coming down and rescuing the dwarves from Rune, but given the fact that North Rune just decided to make this a hot war instead of the cold war that it had been, I'm thinking we may want to get the larger force back up here and try to take Garth. There's not really any reason we can't get it for ourselves. It's not going to expand our border with any factions that we don't border already, so it's a pretty safe grab in that respect. The only thing we have to watch for is North Rune getting wiped out. We did kill one of their family members, but I'm thinking they've got at least a couple left. They must have a king and an heir. Rulers up here in Fornhood, though looking fairly old. So I think, yeah, we want to grab Garth. That's next on the menu. As for the victorious army on the ford, I think we want to move them down here to dissuade this army of Rune, lest they think that we're an easy target in the area. I'm not sure if this is actually going to do anything, but it will certainly put us in a position to easily respond. We may want to retrain some of these guys, but on the other hand, we're dealing with pretty low population here. So let's hold off. We've still got an army in the region we can call back if we really need to take them on. And in the AI's turn, we were attacked again by Tharbad at Southgard Fort, so it's time to slap them away again. And annoyingly, they want to fight. They got 3 units of axemen, but they want to fight. Okay. Oh, this is just solidifying in my mind the advantages of taking Greyholm for ourselves, finally. It's going to give us a little bit of income, another settlement to our name, and of course hurt Tharbad a little bit without really severely weakening them. So we're on the attack this time.
Reinforcements have arrived, but are they in time to take part in the battle?
We've got so many ranged units that this is going to be a pretty straightforward fight, I imagine. They've got no spears, no ranged, no cav. Just a matter of getting them to move out of the trees and surrounding them with our own riders. Oh, they're just going to withdraw. Okay, that too. Down here we can get a couple of more mercenaries, and I am inclined to do so. I think we do want to start getting on their territory a little bit. So let's come over here and see if we can smack this army. Unfortunately, they're not going to retreat closer to Greyholm, but that may induce them to attack me. I don't want to put this place under siege just yet. I don't feel like assaulting it. But if they can position themselves near the settlement so that I can attack it, that'd be great. The other thing here is that we are under siege by Dunland. So this is a large army, but it's mostly cav from what I can tell. It's fairly light, like all the other armies that they've sent at us. And we've got decent walls in Dunhold. These are the high timber walls, meaning they can't break through them. And so we can get all of our archers up there and hopefully do a lot of damage. And then as they come into the streets, we can take them out with our own cav. A couple of bodyguards in there is also really nice. All right, the elves are trying to shake us down for 230 Mirian. Yeah, sure. Have fun. Don't spend it all in one place. All right, so they did not like our presence here, and this is looking like a annoyingly close fight. We've got the ruler and a noble attacking us here. So, you know, we could do this thing where we take them out. I don't think this is going to hurt Tharbad too much, even if we kill both of these guys, because they've got enough settlements. They're going to get some adoptee offers, some marriage offers. So this seems like a pretty safe one to fight. The thing that is going to be tough here is they got some longbowmen. So it's good that we attacked them when we did. Now maybe they're training them out of Greyholm, but I imagine it's probably more likely that they were training those guys in Tharbad itself, and that is probably their best unit actually. So I'm glad we don't really have to worry about that anymore. Well, this can be fairly straightforward, I think. We can just have them come on down and do our usual thing. We've got a line of archers, a line of skirmishers, and a bunch of cavalry. So we'll get these guys around here. They're already suffering under arrow fire, and we can catch them with our own cav. It's not going to be pretty. But it doesn't have to be. We got them down to 1 and none, so they're all set. Here's one family member, and here is the king. And, geez, we could be in a really nice position to take him out. Although those spears look like they're very interested in our cav. Got some Axemen of Tharbad winning here, but I think that our general can charge right in. Let's see if we can do a quick charge on those Merchant Guard. I'm not sure how effective this is going to be. They're going to form up just in time. Took out about 10 or so. And this is a pretty solid unit. So we'll pull them out and try to find another opportunity. Over here, it spears the bridge. Let's charge our cav in and see what damage they can do to that. I think we'll leave him in. Oh, but we do have a bodyguard who did not obey my order to withdraw. Alright. Spears the bridge, running now. And let's get these riders back. We'll just keep cycling our cav in and out. But yeah, look at these Axemen of Tharbad. Down to 1 man and not breaking. Just fought to the bitter end. Alright, 7 units here left in the bodyguards group. We're taking some out from this group as well. And it's pretty much down to the archers and the merchant guard. But speaking of archers, we've got a lot, and we can let them do some of this work for us. They may want to withdraw. And these longbowmen, of course, are going to be very tough. Still 30 of them. I feel like we should probably get out of this, actually. We did a massive amount of damage on this unit. But I kind of want to take out these family members now. We've taken enough damage to them. I don't want to let them get away. Alright, everyone fire at these longbowmen. They're starting to irk me. Alright, we're going to catch up to the general, who's literally just one man. And we're here. He's down to just one. And these longbowmen are not scared of anything. We're going to have to lead them back into our line here so we can retain the Meduseld Guard and Shields of the Mark. There they go. Just took a massive amount of punishment. Alright, these merchant guards are made of steel. Alright, we got the lesser one to rout. And there's the general taken out. Let's go back. Maybe we can catch those longbows. They're pretty close to the edge of the map, though. And that is it. We lost over 100 men. So, quite a lot of damage. A lot of that was arrow fire, though, so I think we got a lot of those guys back. Well, that was one attack. They could probably throw together another one. And I'm not sure how we're going to do against that. Alright, you can see they're bringing people over. So, at this point, we could do a draw out from Greyholm. Let's get right here. Let's check the news first. Okay, nothing really groundbreaking. And then let's hit this army. Looks like some axemen, some spears in here. Those are those 3 axemen of Tharbad. And let's see what happens. Are they going to all come out and fight? Well, we set up over on the left here. There's the army we're attacking, and the garrison is right behind us. These are the 3 units of axemen of Tharbad, so if we can take them out, that would be nice. On the other hand, as we've seen, taking out the reinforcing army while the other one is just off on a distant hill usually induces them to simply withdraw. And so I'd love to get the settlement in this battle, which means I need to take out both of the armies. Let's see if these guys try to meet up together, or at least follow me a little bit. Over on this side of the field, we've got those Tharbad militia that we saw, as well as the bodyguard family member, in addition to some mariner bowmen and more axemen of Tharbad. So this is going to be another fairly balanced army. And it looks like these axemen are coming right after me, with the exception of the general unit, and that is a bit of a problem. Again, if he decides to turn and run back to the corner, we're not going to get the city. So we need to sort of stay out of the fight for a little while, which is kind of odd. Let's get the cav up here on the hill. I think I want to use them all together just for ease of maneuver. Fortunately, they have no cav. And we've got sort of a firing in two different directions here. So they're thinking they've got us surrounded, and, you know, in a sense they do. But again, the last thing I want, in a way, is to spring the trap and just kill these units, because I'm afraid that guy's going to run. We have to play around a little bit, maybe leave one alive. Let's take out this guy so he doesn't take out one of my bowmen. Alright, he's going to rout, and you know what? Let's pull the cav on through. He does not look like he's turning. And he's committing to chasing some of my cav, or my archers. Alright, he's running now. Awesome news. Alright, let's go after him. Broken. Okay. Now, that Tharbad militia we gotta watch. I don't think we necessarily need to kill all of the enemy units here. Oh, we gotta get enough of them. Let's go back and get those Mariner Bowmen, I think. Fortunately, they are still chasing me. Merchant Guard is chasing me as well. Let's get those Axemen with those units. Mariner Bowmen are going to stick around and fight. There are no slouches in melee. I just heard the head for the hills order from the Merchant Guard. We've got to chase him down and see that he does not, in fact, make it to those hills. And we also need to take out these annoying Mariner Bowmen. Break, you bastards. Alright, so they've broken. Let's get up here. We can't let the Tharbad militia get away. We can't let anyone really get away. We're catching up to the Merchant Guard. That's going to at least cause them to stick around and fight. Let's see. Can we reach them with this cav? They're in pursuit mode, so we may be in a pretty good position here. Let's pull you back. What are you? Axemen to Tharbad. Okay, they're actually going to do pretty decent in this fight, unfortunately. But everyone else, we can come and have them shoot. And let's have you charge down. Yeah, they're still in pursuit mode. And these are Dunlanding mercenaries. So they could fight. These are just militia guys. Let's, how close are we to the edge of... We're right at the edge of the map. Oh, we took out the enemy general. Oh, man. Wasn't expecting him to go down so quick. But that was my charge. Alright, we're going to get in the back of these guys. They are shaken, utterly tired. I don't think they're long for the world. Let's turn around and engage them. They're broken. Alright, let's see if we can take out any of them before they get to the edge of the map. We do not have the speediest cav in this bunch. We're doing pretty decent. Get them down to 13. Alright, that'll have to be enough. We took out the enemy commander. The Axemen got away. The captain, I guess, of that group. But otherwise, I think we did everything we could possibly do here. What's this? All right, Yeah, so they're down just 14 left in one army, 4 in the other. We only lost about 70 or so. All right, Greyholm is emptied, and we're going to step right in. Oh, look at all those guys we kicked out. What do they got? 3 emissaries just sitting around? Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Okay. We don't need to lay desolate. They've only got 17 population in here. So we will just occupy and... let's see, we can bring the taxes down to low. We can get rid of these lords' barracks. So I think they did have longbowmen they were training out of here. So this was a good get on our part. We're going to get rid of the great law keepers. That's not going to hurt things too badly, though. Yard of Fountains is giving us a bit of happiness. And probably everything else is good. Yeah, the herbalist, the banquets, all that stuff can stick around. This is a military policy settlement. I don't know that we really need that here. We may change that later. But for now, I think we'll call it good. We've captured a couple of settlements in this episode. We've connected our realms in Rohan to Tharbad. So now our writ stretches from the Brandywine River in the northwest all the way to the Anduin in the east. And of course, we have our enclaves, our police states, if you will, carved out in the northeast here and around Umbar. And we'll see what action we get into in the next episode. Until then, take care.